Am I the asshole for refusing to take my spoiled little sister to the movies? I, 17F, and my friends, all 17-18F, recently made plans to go the movies. We were going to see a by Disney. We are all Disney fans. I was excited to see it, since I've never seen it before, only the trailer. Anyways, we were about to go, when my mom came back home with my little sister, 14F, from one of her lessons. As soon as she came in, she saw me and my friends were all packed up and asked where we were going, so I told her the truth. Big mistake. As soon as I did, she started being super hyperactive and jumping around and asking to go with us. I said, no, and that I was going with my friends, and we didn't have another ticket for her. She didn't like this and started demanding to go anyway. Now, a little backstory, my mom is a total pushover. She never stands up for herself, not even when people are yelling and pushing her, so naturally my little sister is a bit spoiled. She gets almost everything she wants, and when she doesn't get it, she gets something similar instead. I never got this privilege, since she only got a better job with more money once I turned 8 or 9. She was too young to remember a life without it, while I was already accustomed to not getting everything. My mom told me to let her come, but I refused and explained how then I'd have to leave one of my friends, which I wasn't going to do. I don't get to hang out with my friends a lot because they live in the next town over and I have school, and having a moment where all of us could get together like this was rare. Besides, my sister doesn't even like me or movies that much, she wouldn't enjoy it. Now my sister got really mad. She stomped her feet and snapped at me, calling me a jerk and how I was always so mean to her. Mind you, we don't talk that much besides when we have to, despite my attempts to kindle a relationship. I told her she wasn't coming, end of story, and she started to throw a full-on hissy fit. She screamed and stomped on my foot, which gave me a pretty nasty bruise, and called me a B-word. I'm not proud of this, told her to fuck off, because she certainly wasn't coming now. I'll skip the rest of the drama. But she convinced my mom that I shouldn't be allowed to go because of my behavior, and my mom took away my ticket and told me that my behavior was inexcusable and nasty. I snapped that I was nearly an adult, and this was the one time I'd get to do this with my friends for the next several months. But for once she actually stood firm and my friends all had to go home. My sister, nor my mom or I have apologized, and things have been very tense lately. I feel like an asshole and I'm thinking of apologizing for being a jerk to my sister, but I wanted to get someone else's opinion first. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. Edit. Thank you for the responses. After reading your suggestions, I've decided to add some more context to this. My mother had me and my sister from an abusive, toxic relationship, and left a few months after my sister was born because my father, who I have never and will never talk to, broke my little sister's arm. She was fine, and when I asked her a few years back, she didn't even remember it, but that was the turning point. My mom ran away to another city and has lived in an apartment with me and her ever since. She is mostly okay now, but it made it hard for her to say no to anyone. I've tried getting her to see a therapist, but she has refused multiple times. If you guys want, I will update on what I do next. Not the asshole. Did your mom have your sister apologize for injuring you? Your mom needs to realize that you need to be able to hang out with your friends without your little sister tagging along. Not the asshole. You have every right to hang out with your friends and not take your sister with you. Your mom and your sister are treating you unfairly. You don't need to apologize to them, they should apologize to you. In a year's time she's going to wonder why she has no contact with you anymore. Not the asshole. You're definitely not the asshole, but your mom and sister are. Your mom is only rewarding her bad behavior. She enabling her to act this way. Hopefully you'll be turning 18 soon and can move out, go to college and get away from the both of them. Your mom clearly favors your sister as well. Not the asshole. Do not under any circumstances apologize to anyone. AITA 17. Why should she have to take a 14-year-old with her? At 14 the sister is acting like a toddler and the mom is enabling her. The mom was totally wrong to take OP's ticket, she should have sided with OP. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate to stop giving me marriage advice? Edit 2. Some of you think my roommate is perfectly stable, so I will point out that when I called the cops on her and told her what I did, she seriously thought I called the cops on her for drinking a glass of water at 4 a.m. I literally did not see her even near water at all. No cup in her hand, etc. She gaslights to get her way, and all of my friends were genuinely scared for me. Edit. I sent this post to my roommate to show her that all of you think she needs to back off. She sent back, "Who cares what Reddit thinks when so many people are actually mad at you in the real world? All you do is take advantage of everybody's kindness and expect everything to be handed to you for free. But really, is this what you plan to do when you two have your first argument? Just go, well, Reddit said I'm right, so ha. Get a grip, man. I have a former roommate I moved away from a couple months ago. Long story short, she was absolutely crazy, would refuse to let me even talk on the phone to my friends, and constantly said she would throw all my possessions away unless I arranged for my ex-friend's mom to pick them all up after I fled my roommate's apartment and moved back in with my family. Nonetheless, we stayed friends, because I would rather not find out what my roommate would do if I rightfully ghosted her. In January, I started talking to this girl in one of my group chats. We started dating in February. We enjoy each other so much because nobody else can really understand us, and we can actually be ourselves around each other. A couple weeks ago, we discovered we could get married over the internet in our respective states, so we officially tied the knot last week. Yesterday, my roommate texted me to talk about herself and complain about her job or whatever, so I told her, I literally have no time for these stories anymore. I just got married, and I plan to settle down and have a life free of drama. Please respect my boundary. My roommate called me and said, "Are you kidding me?" She started yelling about how we are not ready for marriage, how I need to get my life together, cannot do certain chores, because of my sensory issues, that it was too quick, etc. I told her that this was absolutely none of her business, and that this is why I never tell her anything because I always regret it after. She asked what our plans even are, and I told her my wife decided to leave the workforce and get a tiny house with land, along with investing her earnings. She was a programmer on the West Coast, so money is not a concern to us at all. I told my roommate she should be happy that I have my life together, and that I would want the same for her. I pointed out that it almost seems like hypocrisy because she refuses to date anybody who makes less than $40,000 a year. She said, "Because I need to know they can support themselves." You refuse to work at all. All I said was whatever, and that just because I tell her something does not give her automatic permission to give me unsolicited advice and condescending lectures. She said, "I really hope that you get your life together, or you at least figure out what to do if she decides to leave you." I told her that my wife knows I am trashy, and could not care less. She said, "You sound like a cartoon character. This is so ridiculous." She then hung up. Am I the asshole for maintaining my boundary? I mean, do you think marrying someone you met on the internet and dated for 3 months is a smart move? Your roommate being crazy aside, 99.9% of the universe will tell you this is very stupid. Have you even met your wife in person? No one is the asshole, but this was all over the place. You clearly don't like or respect this person and their opinions, and that's fine, but don't maintain contact with the former roommate and be done with it. How exhausting. You are the asshole. You are making an immature and rash decision. Of course your friends and family are going to have some concerns. You know she has poor mental health and control issues. Why are you telling her details about your life? Why are you in touch? Why even pick up the phone? Unless you enjoy the drama, grow up and stop adding fuel to her fire. Not the asshole. Why are you even still in contact with her? She sounds unhinged. Block her or she will never leave you alone. Peoples like that don't understand boundaries. AITA. Insisting my girlfriend pay for her portion of the bill. Hey everyone. I've often found myself wanting to make a post like this over the last 3 years that I've been together with my girlfriend. Our relationship has not been the easiest, especially this past year. I love her, and she loves me, but sometimes I just don't know if things are going to work out. Last night, my girlfriend, who lives in the city, came out to visit me in the suburbs for dinner. As much as I would like to be able to take care of all of our dinners, I simply am not financially able to do that right now. Before she made the trek to the suburbs about an hour train, I asked her if we could split the bill. Admittedly, she didn't say yes or no, she just sort of ignored my question. But I made sure to mention it several times that I could not afford to pay for the entire dinner. This is also nothing new, so it's not like she should have expected me to. Anyway, she arrived, we had dinner, the check comes and it's like $170 before tip. After tip it comes out to $199, basically $200 flat, of which her portion was $130. I also had made it a point not to order any beverages other than water, while my girlfriend ordered several glasses of wine, which I also advised against considering we had much nicer wine already at home, but hey, it's her money, right? My girlfriend then informs me that she didn't have any cards with her, which again not too surprising. She uses Apple Pay much of the time and they didn't take it at the restaurant. I didn't make a fuss about it. I put my credit card down expecting to settle the bill with her later. I took a picture of the receipt so that we wouldn't lose it, and she watched me do this. The next day comes and I ask her to pay her portion of the bill and she flat out refuses. On this next day, we were scheduled to have dinner with her father in the city. Her father usually graciously pays for the dinner, which I appreciate very much, so additional cost was not a concern. That said, as my girlfriend was refusing to pay her portion of the bill from the previous night, I decided to put my foot down. I told her I would not be attending the dinner unless she paid me for the night before. This resulted in a big long argument about this and that, her primary excuse saying that because I got slightly irritated at the end of the dinner when I wanted to leave the restaurant and head home, that she won't pay me back because I was rude. I completely disagree with her characterization of what happened, but from my perspective that has nothing to do with paying for dinner or money, so it's irrelevant. There are more material pieces of information to this story I'd like to share, but unfortunately to properly explain them results in my exceeding the 3,000 characters slightly. The short version: my girlfriend just received $4,000 plus the very same day of the dinner thanks to my doing her taxes for her, and I am $60,000 in credit card debt and actively trying to reduce my non-essential spending. I'm sorry, did you say $60K in credit card debt? Just break up, it is not going to work. Not the asshole. I'd stop going out to eat with her. This doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. If she truly takes way more than she gives even though she has the money, then you deserve a better partner. Not the asshole. Not the asshole for expecting your girlfriend to go halves, that's just fair. You are the asshole for having a $200 dinner when you're $60,000 in debt. Edit to add. What are the other issues that you need to explain? Am I the asshole for insisting my partner skip a work event? I, 32F, have been with Paul, 34M, for 4 years. A year ago we were in a car accident. Paul was driving and 100% at fault. Paul had no injuries, but I broke my back. I was in a back brace for months and am still going to PT. After I was out of the brace I started going to the gym and running, and at this point I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm really proud of the progress I've made. A month ago I found out that there was a 10K race on the 1-year anniversary of the accident in a mountain town about 3 hours away. I thought this would be a fun and positive way to spend the day and celebrate my recovery. I suggested this idea to Paul, my 2 best friends, and their partners. The plan was to drive there Friday afternoon, run the 10K Saturday morning, and spend the rest of the weekend exploring the town. Everyone was on board. Paul recently started a new job. It's fully remote and he hasn't met his coworkers yet. He is supposed to fly to SF to meet his team the Monday after our weekend trip. We knew this when we made our plans. A few days before our trip, Paul told me his bosses now want him to be in SF on Sunday because they got box seats to a Giants game and they want him to come, so he would no longer be able to come on our trip. I thought he was joking, because he makes fun of corporate kiss-ass culture, but he was serious. I told him to explain the situation and that they can't expect him to be available with less than a week's notice. He said he had already told them yes and he didn't want to backtrack. So I asked him to tell them he forgot he had a wedding to attend or something like that, and he said he didn't want to turn down the offer because it would be a really good networking opportunity. I suggested he join on Friday as planned and drive back late Saturday or early Sunday to catch his flight. He said no because he didn't want to drive 6 hours round trip just for 1 day. I suggested he fly out of the regional airport nearby, which he also shot down because it would be too expensive. He makes good money so this wouldn't be a financial burden. I was almost in tears at this point, pleading him to come and telling him how important it was to me. When I realized he wasn't going to budge, I stopped trying to convince him, but I did let him know I was hurt and angered by his decision. The morning I was supposed to leave, Paul was trying to be affectionate and sweet towards me, but I'm still pretty upset, so I was admittedly pretty bitchy to him and rejected all attempts at affection. Now he's upset with me for ruining our last day together and also for pressuring him to skip his work event. I think he's an asshole for prioritizing a baseball game over a celebration of my recovery, especially considering he's the one that caused my injury in the first place. My friends are on my side, but I'd like some unbiased perspective. You are a much bigger and nicer person than I am. Not once did you remind him that the trip was to celebrate your progress in recovery after he broke your back. I would have. Having said that, he was provided a couple of alternatives that were more than reasonable. And why is he paying for a flight, travel for business? Not the asshole. But he has shown you where you rank in his priorities. I would imagine if you look back in your relationship you'll find you've taken the backseat more than not. You've got a lot of people lurking around here who seem to think having emotions is a purely female experience, and that having those emotions is a performance designed to manipulate men. Face with rolling eyes JFC. It should go without saying you take that into account when reading these replies. Bottom line is he prioritized the _extra_ day, not the whole trip, with colleagues over a pre-arranged, emotionally significant experience with you and your friends. He sucks. He also drove so poorly, irresponsibly that you broke your back. Never mind resenting him, I'm surprised you haven't exploded. Get therapy, but not because he deserves a free pass from the guilt. Get it so you can move onwards and upwards from this schmo. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. First of all, I'm glad you've made such a fast and triumphant recovery after what has probably been a really emotional year for you. He committed first to be there for you on this weekend, and now wants to shake it up for box tickets? Absolutely not. Not the asshole. But you have to consider the fact that Paul had no injury, so it sounds like this really doesn't matter to him as much as it does to you. And that's awful to know. Not the asshole. Since he knows the significance of this date, agreed to come, then just decided your needs are not important and changed the plan without your input. No. Not the asshole. He is also an asshole for trying to love bomb you to get back on your good side. The whole, if I can make her not be mad, that means I wasn't a jerk thing is very immature on his part. Why WBTA if you don't re-examine past interactions with him to see if he is always this selfish, but you were just explaining it away with a story that made him look better than he is. Congratulations on all the work you did, and also all the work you are doing without him.